Oh, little one, why are you still up? Daddy put you to bed a while ago. Come on, come on. Let's go back to bed now. What? You want Daddy to read you a story? Don't you think it's a little bit late for that? Daddy's tired. Oh, okay, alright. Here, come sit on my lap. Let's see, what story? Ah, yes. A turtle named Henry. There once was a turtle named Henry. Every morning, Henry would go out and work on his garden. He loved gardening, and he loved growing lots and lots of pretty flowers. He had all sorts of flowers, but daisies were especially his favorite. He had them in multiple colors. Red, pink, yellow, you name it, he had it. They were his prized flowers. One day, Rachel the raccoon came over and began admiring Henry's garden. "What's all this?" Rachel said in astonishment. Her eyes had lit up like Christmas morning as she gazed upon the flowers. "Did you grow these yourself, Mr. Turtle?" Rachel asked, smelling the flowers.
"Why, yes. Yes, I did,"
Henry replied. He was very, very proud of his work, especially his gardening. He invited Rachel the raccoon in for a cup of tea and some scones. Rachel accepted, and off the two of them went. "These are mighty tasty, Mr. Turtle," Rachel said as she began eating the scones. Crumbs had begun to accumulate on her lips.
"Thank you, my dear. Please, call me Henry."
Henry gave a wrinkled smile as he raised his teacup to his lips. Rachel simply smiled and gave a nod back at Henry. "And you can call me Rachel," she responded back, taking a sip of tea. It was sweet and warm, almost like a hug for your whole mouth. It made Rachel smile. Henry and Rachel had spoken for quite some time before the sun started to set, and Rachel had to scurry home to her family. Henry had sent her off with some leftover scones and some flower seeds to start a garden of her own. Rachel smiled and thanked Henry for the good time and scones. She scampered back home, eager to plant her own flower garden. The following morning, Rachel, the raccoon, went out to her garden and she dug little plots for the seeds to nestle into. She had planted 24 daisies. As soon as Rachel finished planting all the daisies, she looked very confused. "Why aren't my daisies growing?" Rachel said to herself as she began to get a little bit frustrated. Suddenly she sees Henry the turtle taking a stroll and asks him what to do. Mr. Henry, Rachel cried. "My flowers aren't growing, and I don't know what to do." Henry gave a little chuckle.
"Silly Rachel, the flowers need time to grow. They don't just grow instantly."
Rachel looked astonished. "Oh, I didn't know that." Henry gave a hearty old man chuckle.
"Did you water them?"
Henry asked. "Water them?" Rachel said. It was becoming apparent that Rachel didn't have the slightest clue how to garden. Henry pulled a watering can from out behind his back.
"Here, you sprinkle some water on each flower, and it will help it grow."
Henry smiled as he handed the can to Rachel. She began watering her garden with the can, covering each spot. "Now what do I do?" asked Rachel.
"Now, we wait. The flowers need time to germinate so they can start to grow. Right now, they have the main things that will help them grow: fresh soil, water, and sunlight. The warmth from the sun will give energy to the seeds to help them along."
"I see," said Rachel. "Thank you, Mr. Henry. I really don't know what I would have done without you."
"No problem, little love. I'll be on my way,"
Henry said as he pulled a skateboard out from his back pocket and skated home. Henry had gone home and smiled. Not only had he shared his love of flowers with someone new, but he had made a new friend. And he had inspired somebody to grow a flower garden of their own. The end. What'd you think about that one, little one? Oh, you're fast asleep. It did the trick, didn't it? Good night, little baby. Sleep tight.